Hey everyone, it's Nina. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the strategy of manifestors, which is to inform. So if you are not familiar with strategy, in the human design system, strategy is based off of each type's unique aura. And it is basically this guidance system that helps you know whether a person or an environment or an opportunity is in alignment with you. So each type is different, and with manifestors, our strategy is actually something that is made up. And it was made up by the person who channeled the system, by Ra, who is a manifestor himself. And he actually created this strategy for manifestors to help reduce the resistance to other people who are trying to come into our aura, but because we have such this big, almost closed off or repelling type aura, it's really difficult for people to come in or really see what's going on inside of us and penetrate us with their energy and really see what's going on. And so Ra created this strategy to inform, to help other people kind of see into our world a little bit more before we take action on our big urges. So as a manifestor, as soon as we enter a room, people automatically know that we have entered the room, and we might be completely oblivious, but because our aura speaks before we actually might speak, people can feel us even though they're not necessarily aware of it. And so with manifestors having a defined throat center, it's actually very, very important for us to be able to communicate and use our throat center in order to inform others of what we are up to. And I know that might seem kind of annoying to some people to say, oh, well, I have to constantly be telling people what I'm up to, and it just seems like this total inconvenience. Well, it's actually one of my favorite things about being a manifestor. It was something that I found very, very annoying at first, but honestly, now that I've played around with it for the last 4 years or so, it's something that has become more natural for me and more enjoyable because I get to experiment and play around with how people react to me informing. So when I say informing, it's when we share people around us who are going to be affected by our movements or things that we're working on. So Ra actually created this strategy so that when we get these downloads or these big urges to initiate and bring into this world, we can inform other people to reduce the resistance so that other people aren't blocking us, whether energetically or physically or emotionally in different ways, so that people can understand and see what's going on inside of us. Because if you're a manifestor and you have gotten a big urge, or even if it's a small urge, when you just go to do something and people are automatically like, wait, what are you doing? Where are you going? Informing is the best tool that you can have in your toolbox to get other people to leave you alone or to help you. And it just completely reduces confusion and resistance from other people. So I'm going to provide a couple of examples of what I mean by informing. So when you inform, it's not like you're telling every single person around you every single move that you're about to make. But because the manifestors have such this big kind of closed off aura, people are always going to be like, what's going on inside of them? They can't really see what our next move is. And some people it doesn't bother at all, but for many people it can be confusing, or they can be really turned off by it, which means that, some people might not like you right off the bat, and that's totally fine. It has nothing to do with you. It's just them energetically not being able to see inside of you because of the aura. And so if that person reacts to you like that, that's obviously, not your problem. That's just how they're reacting to you. However, if you want to reduce that resistance or that confusion, informing is such an incredible tool to put other people at ease. And while it's not your job to necessarily put other people at ease, this strategy to inform is to help you and make your life easier. So when you start to look at it from that perspective, it can be this really incredible tool. So the examples that I'm going to give you, it's going to be for larger urges or just our everyday life. So something really small that might seem completely not even in your mind that you're thinking about is, say you're sitting in a room with people and you just get up because you have to go to the bathroom or something, and you get up and you just leave. Well, everyone in the room is going to be like, wait, where did she go? And I know for me personally, as when I was younger, it would just be like this disappearing act. People would be like, where's Nina? And it wouldn't even like enter my mind that it was a bad thing. But I learned that it was a bad thing to get up and like go follow my urges because, you know, obviously as a child, you know, your parents are like, wait, where are you? Like, where's our child? And that causes concern. And so to me, it became like a really bad thing to go and do things. And so I became very secretive about things that I would do because I would get in trouble or I would be punished when I would get up and just go follow something that was very natural for me. So this is something that I feel like is very important to teach manifestor children as well, is to inform or like over-inform as children, to let other people know what you're doing, not to prevent them from doing it, but just to let them know. Because otherwise they're not going to have any idea, and you're just going to have children wandering around everywhere and not knowing where they're at. But as an adult, energetically, when you get up, your presence is felt when it is there, and it is felt when it is gone. And so in order to remove that confusion or that energetic resistance, you can just say, hey, I'm going to the bathroom. Like, it can be something that simple. So depending on who you're around or who you're with, you know, it just kind of like puts other people at ease. It just allows you to go off and do something without people coming and looking for you or wondering where you've gone. So I really enjoy sometimes like oversharing for even like the small things, because it like creates this space where I can leave and not really think too much about like, oh, someone's wondering where I'm at. Well, they know where I'm at because I've told them. And like I said, this isn't for other people. This is for you as a manifestor to make your life so much more easier. And so when I say informing, it's not like you have to tell the whole world what you're doing. It's just for people who are in close vicinity to you or who are going to be impacted by whatever decision that you're going to make. So that was a smaller example. A bigger example would be, you know, if you get an urge and this urge comes in, and say you're like, oh, I want to start this business, and it's something that you know, have been thinking about for a little bit, but you haven't really been sharing with anyone. And they're just one day you're like, it's time. And so you clear your entire schedule. You don't tell anyone else around you. You don't tell your husband. You don't tell your wife. You don't tell your children. You don't tell anyone. You just kind of just go head straight on. So if you've ever had an urge like that, because I know that I have in the past, and people are like, wait, what's going on? What are you doing? And you're just like, don't even bother me. It's like you put on your blinders when you get this idea, this urge, and it's like you just want to go execute it. And people are kind of like, what's going on? And then it creates this like stop when you're in the middle of an urge, which can create a lot of anger for manifestors, because it's like when we get in flow and we're in the middle of something, like we don't want to be stopped, because things are being channeled through us. We have this power and this energy because we have that closed aura. That energy is reserved for our urges. And so we want to be able to use it in a proper way where it's not like stop, start. And so that's why when you get an urge, as much as possible as you can, is just tell other people what you're up to. Say like, oh, I get an urge, and you're like, hey, I'm thinking about this. I just want to give you a heads up. Or, you know, as soon as you are like, yeah, I'm going to go do this, send a quick text to somebody, or tell other people in your family like, hey, I've got something going on. I'm going to lock my door. Do not disturb me for X amount of hours. I don't know how long this is going to last, but you know, this is what I'm going to do. And for the most part, people will say, oh, okay, great. Like, please let me know how I can support you. Maybe I can cook dinner for you while you're in the middle of your urge, or maybe I can go find a designer to go, you know, help you with this idea that you want to move forward with. And people want to jump in and help because they feel that energy. They see the vision that you have that you're trying to execute. And so it actually not only reduces or removes resistance, it actually helps other people come in and help you execute so that you don't have to use energy to execute. And so that is a bigger example, like when you have a bigger urge. But I know personally, when I have lived with people in the past, I have had to go intentionally like tell them like, this is what I'm going to do. Please don't disturb me. Or I'm going to be in the middle of something. You know, I need my time and my space. I need my alone time. And as a manifestor, it's very important that we get that alone time, because we have that undefined sacral. So if we're on generators all day, we also need that time to discharge. And as a manifestor, like, we just need those times of solitude to just be in our silence, to be in a resting state, because that's actually what's needed in order for our next urges to come through. So that's a whole other video that I can do. But again, just over-informing. And I've actually worked with other manifestors who have started to implement this in their work. I had a client who was really, really struggling with their boss. They were just like butting heads. And he's like, I don't understand. He's such a micromanager. Like, you know, I can't stand working for him. He's a jerk. And I was like, listen, just over-inform. Send him an email at the end of every day summarizing what you did or what you're about to do. And just tell me, like, see what happens. Like, it's just best for you to over-inform. Like, probably a month later, I get a text message from him, and he's like, oh my God, I'm best friends with my manager now. I over-inform and tell him everything I'm doing. It's annoying, but I can do whatever the heck I want now because he knows what I'm doing. So there are just people out there who they just need to know what you're up to because they are disturbed by your energy and they don't understand it and they can't see inside your aura. So it is best to over-inform in those ways. So we do have to kind of play that game in order to create a life of more ease for us. So I kind of look at it as like, okay, where can I go, you know, tell this person so I can go off and do this? And it's not about asking permission, because you are going to get those people who do resist you, but it doesn't mean that that's going to stop you, because when you have the energy to go manifest and like initiate your urge, there might be people who are like, no, I don't get that, or I don't understand it, but it doesn't mean that like you should not go do it, because this is you tapping into your strategy and your authority and saying, this is correct for me, this is right for me. And the people who do not understand that, like, you might encounter a little bit of resistance from them, but there are going to be other people who want to help you or will get out of your way. And the final things that I want to say about the strategy of a manifestor is, one more thing about when you walk into a room, people are going to feel your aura right when you come in. So what I personally like to do is to tell people why I am there. So say I'm going to some like event and I'll walk into a room, and now that I'm like more aware of, you know, my aura as a manifestor, I can feel people feel me when they walk in the room and they all turn to look at me. And I never really noticed that before, but people feel that energy when you walk into the room. And so when I go into a group, I say, hey, my name's Nina. I'm really excited to be here. This is my intention for being here. And it automatically just like melts the room. Like, it's like people know, especially as an emotional manifestor, if I'm bringing in my emotional wave into that moment, I will inform people how I am feeling. So if I'm on a high, I'll be like, yeah, I'm excited, I'm feeling really happy today. Or if I am on a low, I'll be like, hey guys, like, I just want to give you a heads up, feeling kind of down today, like I'm totally fine, but I just want to let you know. So it helps remove pressure from other people, or help other people not take on that emotion. And it doesn't mean that they're here to like fix or change you or anything, or you're trying to make people to feel sorry for you if you're in a low. You're just informing them because it removes confusion about who the emotion is coming from, because when you're an emotional being, you can actually set the emotional tone of the actual room that you're in. So for me, it is a very big responsibility as a manifestor, having such a big, powerful aura, and on top of that, having such a lit up solar plexus that's very defined and has a lot of channels going into it, to let other people know that, hey, I'm in the room and this is where I'm at. So as a manifestor, if you are experiencing issues or resistance to other people and you're just like, why is this not working? I highly recommend experimenting with this strategy of informing, and just see what happens when you over-inform. Because when you start playing around with this and you start to feel anger, and you're like, why am I so angry? And then you start blaming other people. Well, the only person's responsibility is yours, because you're not informing people, or you're not giving them enough detail or whatever. Like, it's not like something to blame or shame yourself for. It's just something to get very curious about. So when you feel anger coming up, you're like, oh, let's pause. Let's not project this towards anyone. Let's not do anything crazy or big or shout or be mean or angry to other people. We can sit with this. We can take responsibility for that emotion because it's coming from somewhere. And we're saying, okay, where did I go wrong? Where did I maybe not inform somebody? So it's actually like this really great emotion that is actually very healthy to have as a manifestor, because it is telling us, where we can inform better or communicate in a different way. And that is actually our responsibility, because we are such powerful beings and we are here to initiate all of these wonderful things into the world. We need to carry that responsibility and be curious about it. And again, like our entire lives, we weren't taught this, we didn't know. And so it's going to take some practice. So this requires a lot of grace and compassion for yourself, because you're going to get angry and you're going to be like, why do I have to tell everyone everything? But just play with it. Just have fun with it, because it can be something that can radically change your entire life and just make it so much easier. And I'm like living proof of it, because whenever I go out and do things, I'm constantly informing people and letting them know what I'm doing. And they look at me like I'm crazy and I'm weird, and I'm like, whatever, I don't care, because I know energetically I'm removing that resistance by informing them, whether the other person is aware of or not. So I'm informing first and foremost for myself to make life so much easier. And I hope that this video is helpful and it gives you something that you can work with or you can play around with and find a little bit more playfulness and curiosity in your life, because it will make your life so much more easier. So I'm curious if anyone else has experienced this as a manifestor, if you've played around with it, if there are other tips or any things that I didn't mention in this video. I would love for you to comment below, or maybe you have a manifestor in your life and this is a video that you can send them, or maybe you can learn to work with them a little bit more or understand them a little bit more to see how we operate. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.